Hey guys, it's Wilson. I want to show you how to set up a basic product on the laser cutter that you're going to make using Corel Draw. So I'm going to make a smiley face that is going to be lasered out, and it's going to have a little stand on it so you can put it on somebody's desk. I started with Google, search smiley face. I like this one. So I'm going to right click and copy image. And then I'm going to come into Corel, start a new file, and I want to start with a 32 by 18 workspace. The reason I do this is the size of the laser's cutting area. So anything I do in this workspace, I can do on the laser. Let's go ahead and paste that smiley face in. Comes in big. I can resize it here. And the way you take any image and get it to laser is we need to take it from pixels, see all these little dots, into nice clean lines called vectors, so the laser can follow those vectors and cut things out. So traditionally you go here, so I just right clicked on the image. You can trace the outline or the center. I always trace the outline. You can play around with which one you like here. Clip art probably works. If it says reduce the bitmap, reduce it. And what I've got to be careful with here, you can see how it's not pixely anymore because it's a line that defines the difference. But there's going to be a line between these two colors. There's also going to be a line here where the laser is going to want to follow this line and this funky line, and it's going to cut the thing into a bunch of pieces. So we can control that here, try to reduce detail, that goes away. That just seems to get bigger. I could go over here to colors and then say I want to only have 2 colors left over when I'm done. And that looks okay, but then when I come over here, see all these little lines? Let me ungroup all so this turns into a bunch of different pieces. You see this thing's all a bunch of separate chunks. So if I go in here and make red lines, the laser's going to cut all that out. So let's try it a different way. I always go into bitmaps, image adjustment lab first. And now I'm going to take this, you see how it's light here and darker here? Really cool looking effect, really bad for the laser. I find that if I drop the saturation, well, that pretty much worked. I'm going to go ahead and increase the contrast too to turn this thing just black and white. Show you what happens if I go the other way. You can see there's actually a lot more detail here that I wasn't aware of. Slam it to black and white. Now, when I go in and trace this, reduce bitmap size, bam, perfect. Nothing to worry about. So I've got my vectors. Now I want to edit the colors of these things so that the laser does what I want it to. I'm going to right click, ungroup all, and reselect. And now over here, if I left click, it changes the outline of things. If right click does outline, left click does the inside. So left click, left click, left click, left click. Now take a look at the edges here. Right click, right click, right click, right click, right click. Typically, you want to left click the X so that nothing is filled, and then if I want to cut this out, I'm going to right click. Let's move that to the side. So that's going to cut the eyes out and the mouth out. I'm going to undo that. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to bring this over here. and click on it, turns into these little dots, and this is so cool. So I can grab these dots and I can change the shape of things. So if I want to give them real funky eyes, I'm just going to delete all these dots, and that's going to make the smile disappear. And then these I want black because I don't want them to cut out. Actually, I do want the mouth to cut out. That would look really cool. So the eyes are going to stay there. The mouth is going to be open. Let's get these centered. There we go. That clicks to center. That's what I want to cut out. Let's get rid of this. I just hit delete on my keyboard. I'm going to right click on this and group everything. Now I can't click them separately. I'm going to put that over here. Now this is, if I go over here, this thing is almost 7 inches across. I'm going to make it 4 inches across. This little lock is why the horizontal and the vertical dimension changed together. If I make this back 8 and it's unlocked, it stretches it. I don't want to do that. Alright, so now I need to make the base for it. I want the base to be about that big. Oh, I forgot something really important. I'm going to go here. So let me show you on this one. This is 0.5 point. I want to go to hairline. Lasers only follow hairline. So this guy down here is another place to fix this. The width wasn't hairline, and the laser will just ignore it. So really important to get all that stuff hairline. But this is what I want for a base. That'll look nice under there. Make it red so it'll cut out. And I'm going to put a rectangle in the middle of it. I want that rectangle to be 0.11, maybe 120. That's about the thickness of the plastic I'm going to cut this out of. And I'm going to make it 1 inch wide. Lock that into the center. So you see I go here to change the dimensions. I'm going to make another rectangle. Lock that to the center and then hit down on my keyboard. It's a really easy way to keep things lined up. Now I'm going to put it there, drag it longer, and this one here is 1 inch wide. So I'm going to make this one 0.95, just a little bit more narrow. And it's a little tall. Remember, the plastic I'm going to make this out of is 0.115. About 0.115. So then I want this thing 0.3. I'm going to make this 0.2. Put it about there. Now, if I have the laser, Control Z, undo, make this hairline. If I have the laser follow this line and this line, it'll fall into 1, 2, 3, 4 separate pieces. It'll just cut it all up. So I'm going to go over here, the third tool down, find this one called Virtual Segment Delete, and you just can start clicking on stuff. There. So that cut it out. I'm going to regroup all of that. Regroup. Well, first, this guy needs to be turned hairline and red. Group that. And I'm done. This you can send to the printer. I'm going to have another video. Make it tighter here so I can fit a bunch of them. I'm going to have another video on how to send this thing to the printer. So look for that.